in this panel, we have with us Somnath Meher, who is currently Director of Product at Hotstar, and Sudarshan Kadam from Firework. I would like to go ahead with the first question to both of you. How do you see the lockdown with potentially, this extended phase creating huge opportunities for the OTT video ecosystem? And that's where I would like to again thank you all. I mean, you are the busiest person in the lockdown after the doctors and the support service guys. So that was my first question to you.
Yeah. It's kind of bittersweet in a way, in the sense that yes, we are in very unusual and very interesting circumstances, and by virtue of OTT being one of the services that allows, in fact, the service gets delivered right to your home, and for your free time, which is what is in abundant right now, it's pretty natural to believe that business must be thriving right now. But there are two aspects to it, I would say. One is, yes, people have more time and they have internet access across all demo locations, across all groups, I would say, which has led to consumption. So the average session per day obviously has gone up. The time spent has also gone up. But on the flip side, if you look at it this way, I mean, OTT is nothing but an amalgamation of a bunch of content that gets provided through the platform. On the flip side, the content supply has gotten affected. So most of the content that gets consumed over these OTT platforms include GEC content, which gets refreshed periodically, and I'm sure Sudarshan would know more about it.
Yes,
which are daily shows and which are entertainment content, and people come back to the platform to watch it periodically. They are daily viewers of it. So the episodes production have gotten halted. The telecasts have gotten halted. So that's one huge bummer. And other than that, especially in the Indian market, we all know like what people go on to watch. It's cricket. That being affected, again, further has been a bummer. So to my point, while the video viewership has picked up because people have more time to watch, but the supply sort of things have taken a huge hit, which trickles down to the overall viewership as well. So you might have seen people telecasting older content. So Doordarshan did a great job with Ramayana and Mahabharata coming back to life. Every platform in their own way have been trying to figure out from their archives what is the new reruns what are the content that they could rerun during this period, because new content is not coming there. So yes, it's been both good and bad.
I would like to talk about numbers. I think you touched upon almost every aspect of the business, but I was just going through a couple of articles, in the morning, and even reading few numbers. So Indians have basically have been spending more than 3 hours and 50 minutes nowadays on smartphone every day because of this lockdown. And every sector, be it gaming, social networking, news app, or OTT, every segment of the OTT is growing by like almost 40 to 45% if you compare with in last previous months. That kind of numbers we are seeing across all the platforms. If you talk about our own platform, which is Firework, we have seen jump in terms of almost 25% of customers have joined without any marketing activity or without any marketing spend. They have basically come on their own, searching different apps, and they're using content. In terms of content usage, again, 25 to 30% increase from the increase on the existing customers, and almost 20% on the new customers basically have been coming on board. So that's that kind of growth we are seeing. Yeah, of course, as mentioned. So we have some problems in terms of getting content on board because production has halted. But we being a short video platform, we already have like millions of clips on the platform, so people can actually watch whatever 5-6 billion clips we have from the global market. So yeah, we as a OTT short video platform, we are not facing any problems. But when it comes to likes of All Balaji and all those OTT players who had those launches scheduled every month, on alternate weeks, they are facing problem. But good thing is, even if they're facing problem, their old shows are getting consumed. People are coming on board. They're subscribing. They're watching good quality content.
So Somnath and Sudarshan, I just wanted to add to what you said, right? So on one end, you're talking about the opportunities that are there for OTTs at this point. And Sudarshan, you also said you're seeing somewhere between 45 to 50% spike in users and usage time, right, over the last 2-3 weeks. So this is something that I'm going to ask to both of you. Somnath, to you first. What has been certain, important decisions that you've taken as a team over the last 1 month to actually meet the sudden spike? Because you, especially being, owning the product, right? It's challenges are good, but it gets tougher when, suddenly the amount of users and usage time goes up for the product to actually handle it. What were some of those learnings that you've had in the last 1 month in terms of, being able to be agile and meet such a spike? What have you done either from a team perspective or the product perspective itself?
Yeah, that makes sense. So, see, I mean, from a product perspective, and it's not just about one specific OTT platform, but generally, these platforms are built to handle scale. In fact, specifically a platform that handles sports and concurrent users of the magnitude that we do. Obviously, the infra is designed to support that kind of, I would say, viewership. Having said that, while the viewership has gone up, the number of users have marginally increased. So it's not like the systems have been thrown into overload. Yes, the overall consumption has gone up, but the number of users has been a more steady increase. So has been the fact that the viewership is more distributed. So to your point, it might seem like there is suddenly a huge requirement of handling these users. That's happening, but the systems are anyway designed for much higher scales. So as long as it's distributed load on the system, that's something that is manageable. Now, in terms of preparedness for a situation like this, I mean, I would still feel that a lot of the running around has been primarily as to understand how to leverage the increased viewership while keeping into account the challenges that we have in terms of limited content now. So tech infra or scale up, handling scale is not the problem, but what to supply is more of the problem. We've been trying to kind of innovate around it. Again, every platform would have their own forte. They would have originals, so they would have access or rights to certain content from the past. Let's say an old match that you could rerun, a very specific match. But how do you package it in modern times or as of today's context to ensure that it's kind of delivered in a more interesting way? Figuring out who are coming and what to deliver to them right now, using whatever you might have had from the past, has been more of an effort from most of the platforms. Handling scale, not so much.
In Somnath's case, a problem which is specific, again, Alt Balaji, you can buy your Alt Balaji hat as well, is the problem of content, right? How do you churn newer content, especially when no one's able to get out? But in your case, if you can probably wear both hats, the Firework and the Alt Balaji hat, the problem is slightly different, right? In Firework, you may not have the problem of, worrying about creating content because you've neatly pushed it to all our hands. Right now that all of us have more time in our hands, you just had to spur us. So can you think of both of these and tell us what exactly are you facing?
Okay, great. So yeah, I think in terms of technology and product, it's already covered, and I completely agree with Meher, because our product is basically scalable because we are a global product and we cannot depend upon kind of monitoring and hoping that people will come and then we'll do that. So that's basically taken care. These are all automated, scaling technologies that we use. When it comes to content, look, for example, if you look at Alt Balaji, always used to kind of keep content ready for a quarter. That's how they have been planning from day one. So I think, I don't see any problem, at least for a couple of months in terms of programming. But all those shows which were on the floor, all those content pieces which were being produced for the next couple of maybe months are basically completely on hold. Everyone from actor to all support functions, and everyone is basically facing problem of going out and then getting those things done. And that's completely dependent upon when this lockdown basically goes off. So in terms of content, Alt Balaji is completely original content product. So they have to pump in content to make sure that they keep those users on platform. Again, the challenge for All Balaji is there's a limit of content because it's a completely original content. I think they would have now 60 65 original shows. So what after if people finish watching all those shows. So that kind of challenges are definitely being faced by All Balaji. Now coming to Firework, we have a very different challenge, right? So and the content because everyone is at home and they have plenty of time, and everyone can basically take the camera and shoot and put the content on platform. Yeah, that's true for maybe platforms like TikTok, or maybe Likey and other platforms, because they're working on a very different content format. When it comes to Firework, we are very different because we focus on something called as PUGC, professionally generated user generated content. So content which is much better when it comes to the UGC content, because these are shot by professionals, or these are shot by guys who understand storytelling. So our each piece of content which is going on the Firework platform is basically storytelling. So everyone is basically supposed to tell a story in 30 seconds. So right now what we are doing is, of course, we are kind of going out and talking to all those communities, be it creative community, be it production houses and everyone, or maybe actors and these communities to basically kind of run some kind of a campaign in terms of support of the government, or maybe in terms of creating a monetization channel for them or something like that. But the other focus right now we are working on is basically, or the focus area for us is to get a content from the production houses, because these guys have not utilized their content for the short video platforms. So they have long form content. We are basically convincing them to work on 30-second content and get on the platform, so that they can again start one more distribution channel, and they can start one more revenue channel, and they can also basically reach out to the masses that we have. The second challenge we have right now is basically, we consider this as an opportunity, is basically increasing the distribution, because every good thing about our industry is, everyone is, working from home, so nothing has stopped. So we are reaching out to more partners and signing them on board. So yeah, for us, this is actually working, and we have, in fact, our productivity as well as our, partnerships and, even the acquisition has basically kind of increasing multifold, if you compare our last couple of months.
Yeah. So now let's talk money. So monetization has always been a challenge, right, in this space. So what's your take on this? Do you agree? And sub questions to it would be, I mean, has the OTT platforms got their pricing right? Me being a very active user of multiple platforms, from each regional content to others, like Hoichoi and all have few of them have per video paid model. Then they one has something like yearly model. Some have 6-month model. So where do you see exactly this going forward, and how do you think this ecosystem will thrive on the newer channel of monetizations?
This is definitely a challenge. I completely agree, because we have seen this when we were working on the All Balaji product. The first challenge we had was because that time except Netflix and maybe Hotstar, who were charging for the cricket, no one was charging for the videos, or maybe yes video kind of model. So we had a tough time convincing even the management why we should basically go ahead and charge, because everyone is saying the best thing is just go give it for free and acquire millions of users, and then look at monetization. But we always felt that if you have a good quality content, people will pay for the content. The simple thing is if like the movie, you go and spend money in the theater, right? The similar way, everyone is paying content for at your home, for your cable television, or maybe so many other entertainment services. So we had that one thought, and we basically decided to go ahead and start charging consumers from the first show, or from the second episode. Because we wanted to give that sense in terms of platform was new, content was new, because it was not published on any other platform. It's original content. We basically thought we'll give a couple of episodes free. If customer really likes the content, they'll go and pay. But when it comes to charging consumer, again, we have to make sure that we have to charge amount which is kind of they will not mind paying. Like, for example, all charges 100 rupees for a 3 month, which is like 30 rupees or 33 rupees a month. So people don't mind paying 33 rupees or 100 rupees, because one movie ticket normally costs more than 250 rupees in any theater nowadays. And again, you spend on popcorns and so many other things. So we basically decided to charge the amount which is like acceptable to any normal user, and give them. So we started with giving them 5 episodes free. While first 2 episodes were basically available on social media, and then after that, customer was basically asked to register so that he get again some kind of incentive to register. And then after 5 episodes, we used to charge. But again, as I mentioned earlier, people are really ready to pay if content is good. So we after kind of looking at like 6 months data, we realized that if people like the content, they were directly jumping from first episode and paying and then watching the remaining behind the paywall. So after I think for 6 months, we removed the remaining 4 episodes and started charging customers from the first episode itself. So yeah, so 2 things. One is basically people are ready to pay. The content has to be good, and content the payment or the charges has to be affordable. The best example is look at Netflix, right? Netflix across globe, they have never had a 200 rupees or maybe on a mobile only pack. In India, they were kind of discussing for almost 8 to 9 months or maybe more than a year to what kind of package they should launch to basically reach out to more audiences. And they finally launched that 199 rupees, I suppose, right? So that's the all Balaji part. Now when it comes to Firework, we are a short video platform, and we have a different challenge. We cannot charge user because here we are not giving them one piece of series or one piece of long form content. Here we are giving them 30-second content pieces. So our model is ad funded. Right now, if you look at the industry, people are reluctant to spend on ads. The brands are basically kind of holding on their monies because no one is basically, people are not sure, or brand managers are not sure that what kind of lockdown or industry kind of is going to take the hit. So yeah, so right now that's a challenge for us. What we again advise is like from our earlier this thing learnings. If we can have shorter shows, and if you can charge maybe pay-per-view kind of model, people will pay because everyone is looking for content and not looking for any brand like or brand OTT. Like they're not going and watching content because of XYZ brand, but they're watching content because they like the content. So people are more than happy to pay for content or pay-per-view. That can basically get us across to millions of consumers. So these are the few things that I would like to add.
Yeah, I mean, I think Sudarshan pretty much covered everything. But just to kind of outline it, there's no one shoe fits all answer here.
Correct.
And I think that's what Sudarshan was also trying to say. The fact that, I mean, if you look at it this way, the whole OTT space is split into what we call as the AVOD side of things and the SVOD side of things, the advertisement-driven content and subscription-driven content. What you asked is primarily very subscription-driven, which is where users have to pay upfront to have access to a given set of content. But there are 2 very crucial aspects to it, and you need to look at things in conjunction to those, especially in the Indian market. One is how are people, I mean, the viewership behavior is very different in India, as in how willing are people to pay to have access to some kind of content. And that's compared to the West, we are still pretty apprehensive about shelling out money just to have access to content. We thrive on free content, either user generated or curated or platform generated, but there is the proportion of access to or having access to free content is still much more bigger than subscribed content in this country. Now that share of content gets driven by advertisements, which is what Sudarshan was pointing out, that at this point of time during these unusual times, that has taken a hit. Now this is, I would say, in a way has given a slight lift to the subscription of the SVOD side of things, because again, from an OTT's perspective, that revenue doesn't get affected in a situation like this. People, in fact, are willing to pay more to have access to more content, and that's what's been happening. The second part is what is the right mix? Like, is from a platform's perspective, from a business owner's perspective, what is the answer? Should you be SVOD? Should you be AVOD? Should there be a mix? What should be the right pricing? Which is the question that we began with. I mean, like, is 300 enough? Is 1500 enough? Is, I don't know, 1500 per month versus per year enough? There's no right answer to it. It's again a mix of who's your target audience. If you're catering to the top 10% who want premium content and have the appetite to pay for it, then so be it. Then you can charge a premium. You can operate totally within a walled garden. But if your target audience is kind of a broader segment, which goes beyond the top 10%, which goes to the tier 2s and tier 3s of the country and that rising market, I would say, then, I mean, you're talking about the kind of individuals who have access to data for free. You're not going to be able to charge them money to kind of utilize the data to view something in their free time, especially because they don't have the pockets for that as well. So that is where the other model comes in. So depending on who's your target segment, what is the exact catalog that you have or the specific set of content you want to provide, it becomes a mix of that. Obviously, along with other strategic reasons as to what kind of user adoption you want to drive, what stage are you in with respect to your own growth or scale as a platform. In the early phase, obviously, you try to make it as much accessible as possible. But once people do realize the value of the offerings that you have, you might want to balance out, even out with respect to the market parity. But yes, it's a mix of those things. Different platforms have AVOD versus SVOD first strategies, depending on where they are spaced. A lot of platforms have a mixture of those. But yes, I mean, the way we see it today, it's been evolving. I would say SVOD share in India is on a rise. It is there to grow. And the situation that we are in today is only going to boost the SVOD side of things. But having said that, not to take anything away from AVOD, which is the advertising side of business, it's not going to go anywhere. India is a huge advertisement-driven economy as such.
Even TV is going to remain like this.
Yeah. So the same thing that applies to TV, that I know if you look up BARC statements, BARC is the organization that manages all of TV viewership and content measurement across the country. They ask this question every year: what's going to happen to TV viewership when OTT kind of keeps growing the way it is? And they keep coming back every year, showing some new data saying that TV has not gone anywhere. The numbers have been exactly where they are. So the same thing would apply to advertisements as well, because people's appetite for free content is not going to go away anywhere. And that would mean that free content coupled with marketing dollars spent into those content would still remain.
So I'm going to quickly ask you a question, which we're seeing. So with the increased usage of OTTs, right, we are also seeing a trend of, in the last 3 to 6 months, a lot more players coming into the space, right? A pattern where a lot more production houses wanting to set up their own, OTTs, a lot of players wanting to, enter the space.
Right.
So can you quickly give us, it's a two-part question. One, what does it take for someone to set up an OTT? This is for a lot of us who have viewed it, but, would love to do something. And number two, as someone driving an OTT organization, how do you see this sudden increase in interest to be a player, right, from more people? Do you see it as a good to have competition? How do you focus on retention? Because retention again is probably the next big question that you may have as a team. What are your thoughts around these?
So there are two aspects to it as to what is happening and why is it happening. And the second part is what are we going to do about it, or what are players going to do about it. On the first part as to why is it happening, not going through the entire cycle of explaining how OTT has been on the rise. People have free data, there's a mobile phone, people have computing power on their wrists. Across the country, they have time, they have Geo, and so they're watching. Now, the funny thing is that to set up an OTT platform or a business, at a certain level of abstraction, if I were to kind of really simplify it, there's a tech part, there's a technology part, and then there's a content part. So you have to crack technology, which is essentially having the platform, the product side of things, building the right experience, ensuring that you have a video player, blah, blah, everything that comes around. And then there's the content side of things. Now, OTT has obviously gone through the phase during 2015-16, I would say, where in startup parlance, what we say as the product market fit that has been established. Okay, so the playbook to set up something like this already exists. So if you have to set up or start an OTT business, you know how to go about it, as long as you understand how to solve for the tech side of things and solve for the tech content side of things. Now, given that it's proven, the new players or new attempts you would see would be by organizations or again individuals or again players who have forte or who believe they can have certain kind of edge either with tech, which is not so much the case in this market, or they have the edge with content, which is primarily the examples that you're quoting. Now, what I mean, these are again organizations who have access to a large such supply. So either they go and join again a marketplace, let's say, or an existing platform to get their content out, or they become the platform in itself. But having said that, like most other internet commerce platforms, internet service platforms, there is an appetite in users' mindset for only a few, and it's I mean not necessarily the first mover's advantage, but scale begets scale. So while there would be attempts by players, given that there is a product market fit, there is a validation, certain amount of validation to enter the space, but establishing something ground up at this point of time is going to be a Herculean task. You would need to have real big edge in any of those nuances, and which is not impossible, but it's highly improbable. Now coming back to how are existing players going to adapt or react to it? I would say that that's not the focus right now, in the sense that new players coming in right now is not the priority to handle. Or I mean, like obviously there would be more the competition, the good the competition, the better it is. It pushes you forward. But right now, the headroom itself is so much higher that within our existing set of offerings is where we are trying to see how to scale further. And by virtue of being in the space over a period of time, most of the existing players had the advantage of knowing what kind of content, what kind of demographic, or what kind of sub markets within India kind of plays out in what manner, how to further, where are the gaps that can be bridged, and what would it take either in terms of bringing in more personalization, bringing in more engagement, or improving the quality of content, bringing in more content and scaling to occupy that free room right now. So yeah, I mean, that's the answer to both parts of the question.
So I think you rightly said, right? Because now the canvas is already set, and we know what is the required to set up an OTT service. The challenging part is of course the technology. Maybe you can just go and take it from some company and start the start the service. There are a lot of similar platforms available which are providing end-to-end services for starting OTT services. But again, the challenge is going to be, what content. Are you going to basically, focus on original content, aggregation? Aggregation is very tough because everyone knows now that what the kind of content money requires to license content or maybe buy the content or even the production for that matter. So we'll have to really look at the right mix in terms of what is your focus, what is your audiences, and then work on the kind of services that or what is missing from the existing ecosystem which you can target in terms of building one more OTT service. The real challenge is going to be basically acquiring consumers, right? Even if you start the OTT service with content and everything, you require a huge amount of money to basically get people to download your app and start consuming, then retention and everything. So these are the few things right now, we see as a challenge when someone wants to start it. Of course, if you have a good backup in terms of VC funds or maybe backup from one of the good organization, established organizations, that can be possible because they can take that risk for maybe a couple of years and help you to grow your product grounds up. So that's from the new OTT perspective. In terms of challenges in existing retention or retaining existing consumers are as rightly again said by Somnath. Right now, customers are coming on their own, because they want to consume content. They have plenty of time, sitting at home and going through so many things. Because how many times you basically go and watch maybe something on Facebook, YouTube, or whatever the thing. So they're coming back on the platform again and again. Right now, we are focusing on basically kind of how learning data and basically working on a right mix of content, what content, we should basically give this customer, because we have a, machine learning and, data science in place, which kind of, study the customer, complete journey and understand what he's liking, and accordingly keeps throwing those similar content pieces, because we are a short video platform. We are just 30 seconds, right? So we are right now working on in terms of understanding what kind of mix people are looking at, what kind of content we should basically give them, whether it is infotainment, whether it is, kind of a content which will surprise them, content which will kind of make them happy. So all those kind of data points that we are trying to learn and implement right now for our product. So our focus is, and good thing is, we if you look at data that right now, so on Firework, we see people spending about 24 minutes every day, being a short video platform. If you look at 24 minutes, of course, they're not spending 24 minutes at one go, because it's a short video platform. They're spending 8 to 9 minutes in one session, and 3 sessions, they basically come back, maybe morning, afternoon, evening, whenever they have a leisure time, they come back, watch again 9 minutes, surf through like 10, 20 videos, and then again, go back to some other platform. So that's how, we can see the engagement basically coming back again and again. So for us, data is very important. We are a data science company. We study a lot of data for each and every partner that we work with. We also study data for content in terms of, what is working, what is not working. That also applies in acquiring content, acquiring even the influencers or maybe content creators on board. So those are the things we are taking care to basically, be there in the game, and maybe stay relevant in the platform side of the business.
We would like to ask about what are some of the opportunities for startups to build around OTT ecosystem. I mean, supporting the existing platform, maybe with some of the technologies that you can see that okay, we would need help to associate with more smaller companies who can give us services in this particular area.
So from a startup perspective, see, I've been an entrepreneur in the past, and what I would say is you are essentially going to be looking to solve for a problem. So if you're thinking OTT, then beyond the basic hygiene of realizing where the space is today, where the industry is today, what has been solved for, what is happening, the important thing would be to understand what are the next set of problems that these players are facing, or what the space needs to solve for at this point of time. Now, problems are always in conjunction with, again, opportunities. So if you look at it this way, I think there are the reports that go out, and if you look at the latest report, let's say the Hotstar India Watch report that was published last year, you would have seen a trend, something similar to the fact that the next set of viewership is coming from, as I said, tier 2, tier 3. Now, in terms of content, when you say tier 2, tier 3, it's pretty interesting. It's not just the affluence or the kind of size of the cities, but it's their behavior, which is primarily driven by language. And India, being India, is very, very diverse. So the language spoken across Hindi markets is very different from like multiple markets in the South. And all of them have, again, different content of their own kind. So how do you ensure that storytelling or stories of one genre or one segment reaches everyone else? That's something that is being solved for by a lot of big players, primarily because the next set of viewership is coming from there. So how do you cater to them? In case of user-generated content, most of them are personalized, or most of them are contextual with respect to them being the regional language or the local language. So language being one, the kind of content being another. Now, these are the things that are changing. So these are specific examples, I would say. I mean, language was an example, but my broader point being, what are the next set of problems being solved for by these OTT players is something that's pretty apparent. If you could look through them, if you could dig through them and come up with solution or innovations around how can they be scaled, and like every good product, I mean, like leverage tech to do that. Sudarshan mentioned using data sciences. So is there a solve for, I don't know, I'm just loud thinking, taking one good story. I mean, let's say, why can't Star Wars be in Malayalam, and how long and how much an effort does it take to get Star Wars in Malayalam, and can that be bridged? Can that be immediately done through, I don't know, like some kind of text-to-speech model with certain kind of emotions? How do you solve for that? So that's one example. The other kind of example would be primarily around how do you ensure that again the mix between user-generated content versus curated content versus production houses or managed content uh, kind of is balanced to cater to the requirements or the needs of different users. So my point being, as a startup, you need to start thinking about where are the gaps, what are the problems, and see what is the best way you can leverage tech to solve for them. Because, and I continue to say tech because that's what will allow you to achieve scale. While operational activities or events could support it, but eventually, if you have to grow, you have to ensure how does it scale from 0 to 1 and 1 to 100 in the same span of time. Uh, so yeah, I mean, like those are the thoughts that if I were to be starting up right now in this space, I would have.
So see, I'm just going with our experience, with my earlier company, All Balaji. So when we were working with telcos, right? So we had our app in app integrated. In fact, even Hotstar was integrated for some time. So we faced problems in terms of bandwidth cost, in terms of bandwidth people. When they were consuming content, there was always shortage of bandwidth. Even today, if you look at WhatsApp, I think reduced its video from 30 second to 15 second right now because of
Yeah, we noticed that. Yeah.
So one of the challenges that we saw is basically, how we can, help these telcos and OTTs to lower the bandwidth cost. So a couple of examples we tried, with when I was with All Balaji. One of the example was, we worked with a company called Eco. So they help us solve two problems. So they never ever, did this in their earlier avatar. So Eco is basically, you can say a payment platform, which is a last mile payment platform wherein people go and so this is basically for people who are sending money to their villages or money to their parents or whoever it is at the, so we actually use their infrastructure to cache content at the the village level or a tehsil level. So they can go to those guys, pay the money, and download All Balaji show right away through that machine. So those kind of things helped us solve two problems. One is payment collection, and second is distribution. Because people don't know how to download app, people don't know how to maybe use the content. So those guys at the last mile at that counter basically used to help these guys download and collect the payment, and then again used to basically give them a couple of shows that they can so that they can start watching it. So caching or maybe distribution and payment collection, these three problems were solved by this Eco kind of model. The third thing, the next thing is, BlendNet. This is a new solution from Microsoft again. So we worked with them in terms of, again, getting this, at a maybe from the technology point of view, or getting a good solution, because Eco was very limited to their own network. But BlendNet basically went ahead and then, had so many Ecos basically, on their platform, and then they worked as a distribution as network for companies like us, and now I think there are a couple of companies working with them. So when we look at these problems, we always look at how we can solve either distribution, payment, or even the lowering the bandwidth cost. So people can think of those kind of ideas. Of course, machine learning and analytics is one of the key thing we basically kind of encounter day to day. Again, a lot of things can be done in that thing. And these are the points I thought I'll add.
And Somnath, I have one final question for you guys. Before we leave, do you think OTT is going to have the final nail on the coffin, which is coffin of the traditional cable? So, what is your quick thought on that? Are we seeing the end of the traditional play in the next coming months or years?
Okay.
I think we already. Yes, Darshan, go ahead.
Go ahead.
We did discuss that, right? In between, that TV is not going anywhere. Traditional cable is not going anywhere. It's been there for quite some time, and the fact that there is an audience for that as well. And again, I mean, OTT is mostly, let's say, content broadcast for one viewer. And there's a different experience in terms of group viewing. The experience is very different, and that's another behavior that's going to stay as well. As long as people kind of don't stop or don't kind of only go on to one-to-one viewing, the group viewing would exist, and which would mean that the broadcast medium would exist. It has its own set of content that gets televised as well. In terms of beyond just live streaming, beyond community streaming. But it both in terms of the kind of content and the experience it can command, I think it's not going to go anywhere.
Thank you so much, Sudarshan and Somnath. We've come to the end of the session here, and I was really thank both of you for being, as candid as you can be. Right? I think the success of every session is when the speakers open up, right, and share without anything holding them back. In fact, the last 45 minutes to an hour was so freewheeling that we literally covered right from what does it take to set up an OTT to distribution, monetizing, AMSSS. And last but not the least, Sudarshan also talking about how both from his side as well as Somnath from his side on how tech is a big play here. Analytics and tech, understanding the entire customer journey is something that you prioritize on.